5 gut instincts you shouldn't ignore. If you feel this, you have to act. Feelings and the mind work separately. Each has its own area of expertise, and that's a good thing. Sometimes, however, life creates intersections that require extensive interdisciplinary cooperation between the head and the gut. This is when our intuition has its say. It's based on a variety of elements. Most of it is based on experience, but also on observing and listening. What our head can't recognize for a long time, our gut feeling can see through in an instant. It's difficult to describe the emotional cocktail that makes itself felt in explosive or important situations. It could best be described as a kind of alertness, a state of holistic alertness that requires an action or reaction from us here and now. The signals that our gut feeling sends out are always clear. We'll tell you what they mean here. Number 1. Something is wrong here. A queasy feeling in the stomach, hairs on the back of the neck standing on end, goosebumps, and the oppressive feeling that we are in the wrong place right now. This is how this gut instinct manifests itself. It awakens your consciousness and directs all your senses to your current situation. The something is wrong here impulse is probably the most common one we will encounter in everyday life. It doesn't always have to indicate something dangerous or threatening. It's enough if you'd rather take a different bus or the next streetcar, or if you'd rather choose a different seat in a waiting room. The beauty of our intuition is its wide range of skills. It feels responsible for the big and small things that can happen to us day in and day out. Number 2, danger. When we feel this impulse, our oldest instincts call us to order, which have been telling us to flee or fight for as long as mankind has existed. This impulse does not tolerate any delay or hesitation. In everyday life, it often overcomes us at crossroads, where our traffic lights would reliably show green, for example, but someone else has overlooked their red. Events or other mass gatherings can also quickly get out of hand, or at least put a massive strain on our sense of security. If your gut instinct detects danger in any form, it doesn't necessarily have to be a threat to life and limb. You are you, and your intuition works exclusively for you. Danger can also mean that someone is after your peace of mind or your emotional stability. Number 3, someone needs help here. Unfortunately, many people suppress this gut feeling, but a few everyday helpers and rescuing angels report it again and again. It can be completely unspectacular what gives you this feeling. An old person can't make it across the road on their own, or needs a seat on a completely overcrowded bus. But there may also be real danger for someone else, and then swift action is called for. Many people who have become involuntary lifesavers report afterwards that they didn't think twice in those crucial seconds. They simply followed their instincts and were able to prevent the worst from happening. It's not just our gut feeling that speaks to us here. The empathy that is so typical of us humans also intervenes as soon as a fellow human being or an animal is in distress. All living beings deserve our compassion, and sometimes there's simply not enough time to visualize these and similar thoughts. Then our gut instinct takes over and prompts us to act immediately. Number 4, that's it. We could all do with more of this feeling. Numerous people report the same thing about the decisive moments in their lives. It was a spontaneous gut feeling that filled them with a certainty, and certainty they had never known before. Some even speak of a flash of lightning or a moment in which time stood still. And in that fraction of a second, they knew. This gut instinct works reliably when it comes to finding a partner, but also when it comes to other vital decisions, such as education or career choices. This is where what belongs together comes together. Head, heart, and gut All agree, and all three know immediately that this decision can only be the right one. Conversely, we shouldn't expect too much from decisions that we spend days weighing up, for which we write lists of pros and cons, and which we have to spend nights going over in our minds in all possible variations. It has to click if it is to fit and be the only right choice. Number 5, I can do this. How much this feeling fills us with satisfaction and pride. And how often in life are we faced with almost unmanageable tasks that bring beads of sweat to our foreheads and fear to the back of our necks? This gut instinct comes to our aid in the all-important second that decides victory or defeat, triumph or disgrace. We then know with a certainty that we have never felt before that we will master this impossible to do. It lies dormant deep within us, the self-confidence that carries us on its wings through difficult tasks. But when a situation calls for it and we are destined to be brilliantly convincing and brilliant, it is there. The wonderful thing about this special intuitive imperative to act is that the more we're willing to trust it, the more often it ventures onto the scene. The I can do this gut feeling simply wants to be invited forward and welcomed. The more often you let it take the stage, the more often you will benefit from its help. Trust your omniscient feelings. It doesn't have to be a contradiction in terms to listen to the advice of your feelings from time to time, even if you are a logic-loving, rational person. They are not just mere emotions, but often form a veritable conglomerate of experiences, observations, and what is called wisdom. All of this together creates intuition, which we can rely on in every situation in life. The more often we agree with it and listen to it, the more familiar we become with it over time. It's not an entertainer that likes to hear itself talk for no reason at all. All your gut instincts are extremely valuable and must be honored. If you act against her explicit recommendation, you shouldn't be surprised at the consequences.